He even gave
Mayor.
Donnie a gift at the end of the day, something that he didn't want anymore. Oh, come on.
I'm gonna do it.
Oh my gosh.
She was going to lose anyway. You can have her.
There we go. Okay, I'm here. Sorry for a little bit of delay there. For some reason, it is not letting me sign into my Rumble account. So I was trying to sign into the chat, and it wasn't letting me. So hold on just a second. Oh, and I forgot this. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry about that. Yeah. So give me just a second. Let me see if I can figure this out because this is bugging me. I would prefer to do it on the web browser. Hold on, let me just see if I can bring that up. Wait, I'm signed in here. That's strange. Well, hang on a second. This is kind of weird. Just one last thing I just want to see because usually there's no issue here. It's kind of a strange. Oh, maybe it's because I did set up a locals account just so all of you know. I'm still getting everything sorted there, and I didn't really realize how integrated locals was with um why am I drawing a blank? Rumble, but now I see what I mean. I was browsing through and I'm seeing Dinesh with 1,000 posts all over the place. I'm seeing um, Dave Rubin all over the place. I'm seeing all these people. So, but I'm nowhere near being able to benefit from it, obviously. So I'm probably just going to be a lurker for a while until I get a way to make a little bit more of a impression, hopefully, and that means that I'll have to actually be making a little bit more content as well. But that just has been. I mean, I've seriously been, as you guys know. I mean, because yesterday was a bit of a disaster, but um, I just. I mean, obviously, after it's been so long, I was like, okay, I'm finally done with everything. Forget it. I'm tired. I know, but I'll just get through this stream and then I'll rest up and I'll be ready for that. It didn't work out that way, obviously. But today I think we'll be able to do a little bit better. In fact, I'm feeling $1,000,000 today. I was a little worried because I needed a few things before I started the show, and I was going to go to the grocery store. And I realized, oh no, it's 2 days before Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness, I can't go to the grocery store, and I tried just to see, and it's like, no. I just like I passed the parking lot. I'm like, to hell with this. I'm not going there. So I compromised. I went to 7-Eleven because if you don't know, well, you do know this part. I love ice cream sandwiches way too much. But if you don't know, 7-Eleven's ice cream sandwiches, their own branded ice cream sandwiches, are freaking killer. They're so good. So that was my compromise, and it worked pretty well. I'm happy with it. So, but anyway, yeah, it's just no, like just to make sure everything went well. Now I did kind of have a few issues early on because for whatever reason there was why has that got? I'm sorry. There's some. There's one of these things bug the hell out of me when I see them. So sorry, I got to do. But the chroma key. I fixed this before the last episode. And, oh, geez, dead skin. I fixed this before the last episode, and now it's doing the zooming thing again. Yeah, it's zooming all over the place. Hold on just a second. Let me try with this off again. That might be the problem. Or is it that one not up enough? Here, hold on. I'm really trying to figure out lighting, and it's very difficult. But I used to do lighting for photography, and it wasn't really one of my more difficult areas. But I don't know. It's really unusual in this one. Okay, maybe this is zoom. Oh, that's too much. Yeah, there we go. Oh, don't no. Hmm. Okay, that's annoying. Let me just, for the sake of argument, just see what happens with this. No, that's way too dark. Okay, down a little bit. Ambience. No. See, I changed the focal settings yesterday, and I noticed it wasn't having any problems like this. Jeez, I always have to fix things on the fly. Oh, and now it's settled down. We good? No problems? Well, good. No worries. No problem. Da-da-da. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay. I guess we're fine. What the hell? Okay, I guess I fixed it. I won. Oh no, I didn't, but I think it'll be all right. Anyway, so yeah, as far as yesterday's show goes, sorry about that. That was my own ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it with the camera. Sorry, jeez, this is annoying. Give me just a second. I'm gonna have to see this anyway. So, by the way, I am actually trying to come up with some new set backup ideas. So I think I'm gonna have to go to different screen for a second because I'm gonna have to scroll through some. Scroll through some menus. So give me just a moment. Yeah, you still should. Yeah, you still should be able to hear me. So it might be a little faint, but okay. So is it? Oh, I think I remember what was one of the things. Um, hmm, right here. Hmm. Okay. Um. Oh, I have another idea too. Let me just make sure that I try everything just in case. I don't know why this started getting to be such a problem. It was when I got this camera, it was a little bit more sensitive to the focal point because it's a what do you call that? Eye focus as opposed to facial focus. So it focuses on the actual center of an eyeball instead of someone's head, and actually that usually makes for much better results. But obviously, if it's taking time to zoom every couple seconds, that's not going to be the end result. So let me see as long as it's open. Sorry about this, guys. It was just one more second. Thing. Kind of button solution. Oh shit! And there's another. Oh, that might be why. I'm glad I checked this too. This camera has a tendency to heat up um, very very hot, and I had to add a back fan to it so that it doesn't overheat and shut off. It will shut off in the middle of the stream if the fan is not running. And so I'm glad I caught that, because otherwise that would have been some real trouble. But and that may very well have been. What caused the problems? In fact, is it even? Oh, it might have shut off right now. I think it did. Man, that was about to kill itself anyway. Okay, let's try this now. Because camera's running at top speed. Camera's running at top speed. Fan's running at top speed. Camera's running where it should be. Oh, that might be why. Oh, that's right. I think I remember. Wait. Ah, here we go. This could be it too. Ah, yeah, that's. Why does it keep changing the ISO? Okay, well, there you go. Let's see how this does. And hopefully I didn't screw it up more. All right. Volume. No voice. Okay, there we go. How are we doing now? Is it looking good? Still tilted a little bit. Wait. Oh, is it this? Oh, no. Is this. There we go. Still not. Oh, I see now it's missing part of it. Just like a corner of it. Still missing a part. Where are we? Oh, what? Now is when. Yeah, now is when it's going to count for this. Jeez. Okay, here. Ah, that was the problem. Okay. I think I'm not centered either. That might be another problem. And now I am. Now I'm low. But you know what? I don't want to fool with it like that anymore. So let's try this. Let's get this show started, goddammit. Sorry. Jeez. I need to be careful with that. Yep. Much better. Okay. All right. I'm not going to fiddle with it anymore. You have my word. Even if you can't see me at all, that's probably for the better anyway. Okay. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so, why won't it let me here? Hmm. This is, man, this is crazy. This is crazy. Um, so anyway, let's get on with this. Anyway, I had two main subjects I was going to talk about today. And, because, the last show I was talking about, uh, mostly because I missed out. There were so many things I really wanted to talk about, and it really bugged me because I missed basically the whole shutdown. The whole time I was down was basically um, almost the entire shutdown. Well, it was the entire shutdown. It started just before that, and then I'm starting up again right after it. So I didn't get to talk about any of that. But I am going to bring a few things up because there were a few things that were kind of made obvious because of the shutdown, and it involved it involved certain people who love appearing on TV and love giving their opinion. But I would say that if I was on the same guy's team and watching this guy as a member representing the team that I'm on, and he was giving these answers, I would be pretty. Honestly, I would be furious at this guy. This guy is an absolute dunce at this. But there were some other things too that came up, and it's really incredible how. Um, I mean, it still blows me away because people just don't know the truth about a lot of situations because it's purposely handled that way. Somebody I was watching the other day was talking about the um, the January 6th commission and how if you remember the first time they had a January 6th commission on C-SPAN where they normally have their hearings, um, obviously there wasn't really much of a viewership because it's C-SPAN. Only nerds like me watch stuff like that. But the point is that they were hoping for some big turnout. So that was when they wanted to do the prime time January 6th committee hearings, which was, I think, was one of the most revealing and pretty disgraceful things that the Democrat Party's ever done by trying to. I mean, admittedly, when you watch the behind the scenes footage, I can't believe they even have that to begin with. Behind the scenes footage of the January 6th committee hearings. I mean, come on, this is just like. I mean, I know that Hollywood supports the hell out of Democrats, but geez, are we taking this relationship a bit too far by trying to recreate this sort of entertainment enterprise within the body that's supposed to be dedicated to writing and passing the various laws of the country, and now they're a new must see TV show on at prime time on ABC. So, and it was just like just so blatant. And then when I heard that they had brought in this television director who who literally says on the on the interview during the discussion about the event that well, I thought the January 6th testimony was really compelling and really strong, but it just didn't have an overarching narrative to present it to the people in a really comprehensive and easily digestible way. And I thought if we came in with experience of storytelling, then we could really present it to the people in a way that would easier to understand and would show them the overall picture in a more clear way. I'm sitting there going, okay, so you think the American people are stupid and they need to be shown things in the form of some shit TV show in order to understand the fact that the Democratic Party is trying to smear Donald Trump like they have been for the entire time he's been in office. and this time it's over the quote unquote insurrection at the Capitol. And you have to sell it to people. You have to sell them the idea. Because I call me crazy, but I'd rather people not sell me their politics. I'd rather people, present their policies and then me, agree or disagree, not be convinced by some guy who literally says out loud that I'm trying to more or less propagandize it as best I can because it's the kind of that's the way you market an idea. That's the way the idea succeeds. It's by marketing it to the people. No, the idea succeeds whether it's good or not, whether it helps people genuinely or not. It just it made me so mad when I heard that guy talking. It's just like, and then I start thinking like, okay, actually, you know what it really does? It makes me pissed off that Democrats are sitting here trying to act like the benevolent party that's watching out for all of our rights as they waddle out with their witnesses. And if you remember one of the star witnesses, Cassidy Hutchinson, who to me, everything I heard about the girl, she's just a ditz. Like she's just a really ditzy girl, but she was really young too. So I mean, obviously, she's not going to know enough about the inner workings of Washington politics to really, get a good glimpse of what it is that's actually going on behind the scenes. But the fact that this came out was kind of a difficult one to swallow, and then still go along with it because there are multiple people, including several of her attorneys. The one that raised the most concern obviously got fired about this, but Liz Cheney and her staff were essentially trying to coach her into what exactly she should say when she was being questioned. And when you look at what was alleged by the attorney and what the actual testimony was in the January 6th committee hearing, um, that's just and it's just like talk about scumbag, like talk about scummy moves, and and once again, it just goes to show like the idea for Democrats isn't that they have crappy ideas; it's that their ideas are great. They just don't how to. They don't know how to. They don't know how to pitch them correctly. They don't know how to help the American people understand them better. And it's like they always are talking about this like it's a messaging problem. And no, it's not a messaging problem. It's a policy problem, and it's a you problem. It has nothing to do with the messaging. Even though the messaging is shit too, I think that when there's a good policy, the messaging can suck, and people are still going to probably like the policy. If the policy sucks, you can work on your messaging for the rest of your life, and it's still going to suck. So that's unfortunately the reality, and they just can't accept that because and it's become apparent to me very obviously that the reason that they've had such an ingrained feeling of like people are going to go along with this, they'll agree with this. This is policy that will help all the American people. It's great. It's because there's such a disconnect like between the Democratic Party and the lower like I was hearing an example of this when I was listening to this podcast. Don't ask me why. This was just something I saw, and I was just like, oh, this would be interesting. There's a podcast talking to Joe Manchin, and he put out a book like maybe a month or two ago or something like that. Um, and that in and of itself, by the way, is pretty rare that a former sitting member of the Senate will leave and retire, and in his retirement write a book about specifically the inner workings of the Senate, and it'll go into it goes into other subjects, but in particular the people that were hosting the show were kind of curious about number one, what was it like as a senator under Obama's terms, what was it like under President Trump, and then what was it like under President Biden. President Biden, and um, and then compare and contrast the two the different presidents and one thing that he said was that even Bernie Sanders, even someone who is always nonstop talking about how pay your fair share and the rich don't help this country at all, and they just um, what's it called? Mm, uh, they just feel they're entitled to people's labor, and they should be grateful for any kind of paycheck they get, and that's what the evil Republicans are for. And it's like I don't know really where the mindset comes from, but what I was really impressed with was once again uh, when it comes to like the idea of some care, not care, some people being entrenched in the idea of their party succeeding, and some people being entrenched in the idea of we're here to do our job and do it to the best of our ability, and if we mess up, we should be called out on it. We should do something um, to fix that problem, which is one thing we're going to be talking about today because um, the continuing resolution from the House, it's yet to be released, redacted or unredacted, um, even though pretty much everyone has confirmed at this point that the killer was. Um, it looks like I have no idea, but yeah, that's just part of the experience of it all, and you're not meant to really think critically. When you see someone like John Fetterman who does, it's like they're already talking about primarying him, and when you see even veterans like Chuck Schumer who are doing bad, AOC's talking about primarying him, and it's just the lengths they're willing to go to keep the whole charade that they have working on. Um, Unfortunately, that was made by. Huh. Oh, wow. Cool. Anyway, sorry. Um, but yeah, that was one last thing. I swear, if I don't fix this, it's gonna drive me nuts. So, um, let me do this real quick. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Um, let's see. This is weird. Okay, everything looks fine here, and I can comment here, but I can't comment from OBS. So, hmm. That's odd. Okay, well, here's what I'll do then. I'm going to close it on OBS, and I'll just leave the window undocked on the live stream, and I'll pull that off to the side, and then that way I don't have to worry about it. So, uh, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but that's obviously the most simple idea. So, um, I know in uh, Top Chat, I don't even know if anybody uses Top Chat in my streams or if they just use live chat. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, I don't know if anybody uses any chat. um, when it comes to getting back, let's just get back to the subject. When it comes to the story Joe Manchin was telling about uh, how they were debating what was going on, and once again, I may disagree with Joe Manchin in a lot of things, but I will give him his due because without him and Kristen Cinema, I mean, I swear we would be in such deep shit right now because of the fact that they're the only ones that stood up to block the filibuster in the Senate when it was under Democrat control, and they were desperate to get the the Build Back Better bill pushed through, which was such an absolute monstrosity of a bill that it would have that bill could have single handedly by itself destroyed our entire the entire financial structure of the United States and ruined our economy for the foreseeable future, if not for the rest of the time we exist as a country, because um, it just did. There was just so much spending. At one point, it was up to as he mentioned, at one point they put up an offer that was like $6.5 trillion, and she basically says, "Wait, what? Who who told you that?" And how much do they know about anything? Because sure as hell sounds like they don't know that much. But um, anyway, mhm, 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 mhm. I'm sorry, I'm fixing it. There we go. So, as far as the shutdown goes, there was you guys, if you if you didn't pay much attention towards the end and kind of get the impression of what exactly it was that kind of was the last straw because people were just getting tired of it. But there was two really big things that were really causing the pressure to mount on Democrats. Number one was the flight traffic and how much the airports were getting uh, clogged up. And we're getting close to the holidays, so they're starting to get that busy seasonal shift coming in, and all of a sudden there's so many flights being canceled, tons of flights delayed. They're having trouble keeping air traffic controllers on staff and fully staffing all the positions to make sure that flights are reaching their destination safely. Um, and it really just, oh man. But anyway, there was that. That was a big problem. The airport thing. The other one though was that like it was clear that everything they were asking for, everything that they were trying to bring up, everything that they were really trying to force out, they're really um first off they're lying about it. They're completely lying about it. They continue to this day to lie about the idea that it wasn't about giving illegal immigrants health care. It entirely was in large part about giving illegal immigrants health care. That's even in the text of the bill. So I mean, I it's unbelievable that they would deny it that uh, fervently. But um, another thing that was really pressuring them was that um, Republicans were trying to budge on certain things, and that was when they hard shifted from the original talking points they had to all of a sudden talking about the the a the what is it the ACA, yeah, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, or what's better known as Obamacare. Um, because if you guys and I honestly am someone who wasn't really following the whole Obamacare scandal since the very beginning. I really was not that knowledgeable about Obamacare for a long time, but as I've learned more and more about it, um, I can completely understand why um, people would want to like really stay loyal if they really like the product, um, but they were just um, at that point they were just it was almost like sticking it in everybody's face, and Republicans kind of stating that "No, we're not going to do that." And the biggest thing for me, one of the most important factors that was pushed, and I got to give credit to Speaker Johnson on this one because he kept people's focus on this, and this is definitely where it should be. And if I was in his position, this is what I would have been recommending him to do because um, let's see. Hmm, hmm, yeah, it's strange. Anyway, The other issue that was about the jeez, man, I'm drawing. Okay, let me get to my folder real quick because I can bring this up really quick. Um, so as they're out, as Democrats are out, protesting ICE and protesting immigration, and trying to complain about the cost of living and blame it all on the Trump administration and them not doing enough, and all these people having to go through. One thing that was brought up over and over again was how many people are starving in the United States. People are going and starving to death. They have no food. And it's, all right, I'm calling bullshit first of all because number one, um, it's oh never mind, that's something else. Um, we have an obesity problem in the United States. We don't have a problem with starvation. So, the vast number of people um, that are larger and have you know more cushion for the push. um, but yeah, they just they have natural sort of hmm, 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 I don't remember that. That's good. But anyway, the whole idea that 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 like these policies can be implemented by government, they'll be spent, and everything will be fine. Everything will work out fine. The last time they that the Trump administration was in office and they tried to overturn Obamacare, a lot of conservatives were really behind the idea, and they were really trying to make sure that hey, we need to get this thing repealed, and have everything brought back to a more uh, consumer-driven market because it is not the kind of situation that you are really going to want to uh, just kind of dwell on if you're one of the culprits, obviously. But it's goofy as hell. So anyway, but then you get Chuck Schumer and this is the. Let me play this clip. This should sum this up pretty well. These are some of the clips I've been saving for this because I swear, if there was one person that really exposed what an absolute dunce they are during this whole thing, I would say more than anyone else, maybe even more than Chuck Schumer, it was Hakeem Jeffries because we can see where Schumer's panic comes from and where his, unfortunately, his positions kind of went off the rails when the Trump administration first started and they went first to pass the first uh, was it the first reconciliation bill or was it I think it was the reconciliation bill. Um, no, it couldn't have been because they didn't really even need Democrats support. I think even some Democrats did sign on to it, if I remember. Just like once again, uh, man, Thomas Masterman, you are a class clown. Um, uh, there we go. Okay, so anyway, I was just trying to make sure I heard that right. So here we go. There's there's this growing sort of feeling from every time you would hear from Hakeem Jeffries, or in case you haven't heard this nickname, I think it's fantastic. And there's two of them actually. Well, there's more than two, but there's two primary ones, and I think they're both fantastic. There's there's Discount Obama and Timu Obama, because you get the impression that Hakeem Jeffries is like he probably has like a poster of like this giant life size poster of Obama on his wall. He's got the hope and change posters all over the place. You know, he's probably a super big fanboy, and and you just get the impression that he just really wants to like follow in his image because of the quote unquote success of Barack Obama um, and how much the Democrat Party still really. I mean, if you were to ask me today who still controls the Democrat Party, I would still say by far and large it's a struggle, but more often than not, it seems like, especially with the big guy, the real big guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, or somebody like uh, another real big guy. Who's I, who was I thinking of? That guy that. Oh yeah, it was the one where I had to get out because I had no idea where you guys were going. Hmm. Hmm, that's weird. Anyway, so Hakeem Jeffries has been at first it was just like some annoyance with questions, and in some cases it was like it was a little bit more than that. But then you could see as time went on, he just started getting more and more and more angry, and in turn, even liberal media started to get more and more frustrated with the fact that this guy's just not answering any questions. And you can see the example perfectly in these clips because he's he's like he'll listen to the question and he'll kind of go on for just a second about how he agrees and that's a very fair question and in all truth, in all reality, the truth is that actually what happened is that when the last Trump administration decided to do this, do that, it's like, dude, no, that's not how this works. You have to, you can't die. Um, that was it. I don't think it was like that. Hmm. Anyway, that was um, that was just a natural tendency of things to go. But as time went on, more and more people were asking harder and harder questions. And meanwhile, Schumer is just doing the typical political thing of just like whenever he gets asked about it, he'll give a quick opinion really fast, and you don't have any kind of real like you don't have any more. Anyway, so here let's get started with some of these. I'll let's pull up which one would be a good one for first one. So I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted by these other things that are going on. It's uh, it's annoying, but anyway, so there's this one. I don't want to waste too much time with this because there's a couple other important things to talk about. But this one was one that I really thought was important because um, I'll tell you right now, like as much as I hate Nancy Pelosi's uh, job as speaker and how absolutely iron fisted it was and how disrespectful it was and like bringing partisan politics to a whole new level. Um, I can at least say that. She was punctual. She was on time. She had no problem making it to the armory. Yes, indeed, making it to the armory. So anyway, there was that interview, and then it moved on to an interview with Kristen Welker. I think it was Kristen Welker on MSDNC. Which, by the way, I'm gonna have to discuss it because it's coming soon. We're gonna be seeing MS Now, the dumbest acronym I've ever heard for a news show, but or a news channel. Um, but you could see she was starting to kind of push the envelope a little bit as well, to where it's like, well, hold on, Mr. Minority Leader, like there's a few problems with this equation, and it's like, and one of the points they'll switch to over and over again is that, like for example, um, if you're to if you're gorging to death on the ice or just give me one more. Anyway, um, here's the first one. Here's Hakeem Jeffries in a press conference being asked about uh, it was just these are just general questions about the shutdown and what Democrats were hoping to get out of it. And bear in mind, this is a room full of friendly reporters. Like when Democrats do press conferences, they might not be quite as bad as Joe Biden, where they have to know the question and the answer they're supposed to give ahead of time, but it's still pretty bad to the point that like they're given a list of the exact people that they want to have uh, as their anyway. So here's the clip of the from the White House press room, and let me see if I can bring this up in a clean way that won't be giving away any stuff right away. Most of these are really short. Let me just check. This one's only like about just under 3 minutes. The second one is uh, I can find it. Oh, it's up here, I think. Oh, actually, I do. Yeah, I did hear that one too. And that was easy. Thank you very much. Anyway, yeah, they just for whatever reason, um, hmm, goodness. So anyway, what was the last one again? Because there's one third one, and this is the one that kind of wraps. Yeah, that's the one that's on Joe and Mika. There's Morning Joe, and this one's probably where he's at the end of his rope. He doesn't want to talk about this anymore. He's so tired of dealing with this. But it's like in the last game, I could feel some degree of symphony from him. Um, hmm, very nice. Yeah. Hmm. Man, this is not okay. Well, either way, I got a couple that I can play, and I think that it'd be enough to get the gist of the gist, the grift, the gist. Um, there we go. Okay, now, oh, whoops, I didn't do anything, did I? No, we're good. Okay, so, is the volume off for that? Now it is. Okay. Um, let's go ahead and pull this clip up. And oh wait, what was this one? Oh, this is by the way, we'll be discussing a few things in the next episode because in particular, there's some things I wanted to like just think about for a while before I put on because even if they don't have anything useful in them, they're going to probably attempt to celebrate. So okay. I swear I can't remember which one it was the last one, but I'll start this up and then we'll get there. Um, And another thing to be mentioned too is that when it comes to the bills that are paid by American citizens and their tax dollars, and these tax dollars are going to, uh, I won't go that far, but um, wow, yeah. Interesting. Anyway, so here, I think this is the best one to start with, and then I'll go through the rest of these while this is playing, and we'll see how that goes. Um, hmm. It's another thing about Phil is that Phil. I'm sorry, not Phil. Another thing about the Democrats, especially Democrat leadership, is that they cannot accept the blame for anything that goes on there. So it's just like, oh shit, the volume wasn't on. I'm sorry, guys. Jeez. Okay, here, let me start that over again. Hold on. I didn't even think I had the clip up. I was trying to sit there and listen to it. Okay, all right. Hold on. Let me get that set it up. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own?
By the way, this is another thing that I heard from conservative puzzle players is that it helps you get smart. It's like, no, it's a measure of your smartness, and that kind of made their heads explode. Sometimes they didn't understand it, but after a while, I think they could appreciate the effect that was how it worked. But um, there's a lot of people that don't understand that kind of aspect, and it's really strange. But anyway, I think I got this working now. So here we go. And bear in mind, once again, these are reporters that, for the vast majority of them, they are 100% sympathetic to the Democrats. They are 100%
Congresswoman
sympathetic
Plaskett was
to.
found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh wait, this is a different subject. Okay, wait. I think I picked the wrong one. Um. Uh, here we go. Aha. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Now I'm seeing. Okay, I remember now. I'm sorry, you guys. Jeez, I had my videos all mixed up. Now I got it. Okay. Um. So let's start with something. Let's start with a bang. Something funny. Something that's really goofy. Um. And I think I got just the thing for that. If I can find it. To the platform. The I swear. I don't blame anybody that uses ink. I blame somebody that runs around trying to steal people's shit. Hmm. I was going to say here. Yeah. Energy there. Okay. All right. I think we've got this now. Let's go. I said that over and over again, but I really do think we got it. Man, you know, I have talked about this before, and you guys have seen me kind of obsess about it before, trying to make sure everything is organized in all my folders and everything's lined up to work and easy to find and everything. And it's like ever since the computer issues, it all went to shit really badly because um, so many videos don't work anymore, and there's a handful that do, and they're the older ones. So I'm trying to go through everything, but that's taking forever. And uh, and the most important ones, they're there, but they're scattered around and they're mixed in between the other ones where I can't even see the thumbnail, like I was talking about before. So trying to find the right one. It's like I can usually tell just by a glance at the thumbnail because I know the sets of a lot of streamers. Like Michael Knowles' set is a great example. That one's pretty elaborate, but um, of course, once again, the man, the myth, the legend, the present, the future, the everything here and now. Um, I want you to. Oh, you are still. Hmm. Interesting. Well, anyway, okay. So, now let's see what we got. No, he's not gonna help anybody out about that. And that's the other thing with the Democrat reasoning is that they're not trying to help anybody out. They're trying to help themselves out, advance their political aspirations to reach the next level. So it's not really about ever trusting them at what they say. It's protecting them when they're so stupid that they give up all the cases are. Hmm. Well, there you go. Doesn't know. Anyway, screw it. Here we go. Oh, you know what? I think this is a really good one to start on because if I remember
extension
correctly.
has any potential
Oh
Republican
no! This is the last one I'm going to play. This one's really good because this is after the shutdown, and someone kind of confronting him like, "What exactly did you accomplish with this?" And it's actually really well done. And believe it or not, this is on NBC, so not exactly usually a hostile crowd, um, but yeah, this lady is she's not happy about what was going on. So here, let me. So now I know which one is there. I know which one should be in the middle. Just gotta find the right one that starts it. And I'm about to just say screw it. I'll just put on the second one and go from there. But I thought for sure there was at least one shorter. Uh, oh, I guess some people aren't celebrating. Anyway, let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. All right. Here we go. So this is where I wanted to start off, and this is what I was talking about. And as a matter of fact, I think this one actually does have Schumer in it too, and so there's a bonus. But yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing that when I hear this, it drives me up the wall every freaking time, and it is so just, uh, it is so like just pathetic, low tier, absolutely bottom of the barrel political strategy where every single aspect of your platform that you're trying to stand up for is about how well the Republicans, well the Republicans, well the Republicans, the Republicans, the Republicans, the Republicans. What about you guys? What are you guys doing about it? Because I remember when you guys were in the majority, the Republicans, yeah, they got mad about you guys and they brought you guys up, but you guys weren't the only sentence out of their freaking mouth the whole time, dude. Like, they brought up some other things that were, a problem. Like, I don't know, maybe like people like Antifa or the rioters that are paid off by your nonprofits that you guys get your donor money from, and then ask you for favors like, go take out this guy. Just, just go. I remember where I actually was. Oh, that paid for a while. Anyway, so here we go. I'm sorry. I finally got to it. Here we go. It's right. If I can remember the flip was. Yeah, here we go. This is it. Oh wait, is that the one after or before? I think that's the one after. This one might be the one before. Let's see. Uh, okay, I think we got it now. I would play Return of the Suck for Brian Stelter's take on this because he was running the BBC trying to post articles about how terrible Trump was and the Republicans in the House and the Senate were for not wanting to continue the ACA agreements. And it's like I'll explain that. I'll break that down in just 1 second, but it might be easy to understand even more with if you have the sort of background subtext to the whole situation. So I guess this is that, but this is fine. This is where just a great example of, because ultimately what we're looking at here is what we're trying to find among just about every Democrat that gets interviewed, and especially if it's something that is about hard times, and in particular if it's something that is about hard times caused by the Democrats, then they really just desperately do not want to admit that. So what do? Well, this is what they do, and I can show you right now because it's not pretty, but uh, let's see. I thought no, I went down a little bit. There it is. Okay. Now I don't even know who this lady is, by the way. She once again she works on NBC News in the morning with that guy that always tears into everybody about finances. It doesn't matter what side you're on. He's a financial guru at NBC News, but he really is. He really does know his stuff. I don't know if he's on the level of like a Charles Payne or those guys. When I hear Charles Payne talk about economics, I'm like, dude, this guy. I don't even know half the shit he's talking about. I don't know what the hell he's doing. But man, this guy knows. Guy knows money. But obviously, the House Democrats don't really know that very well, and if there wasn't a better example than this right here, I don't know what you could find um, that would be a better example. But I put forth my case right now, and this one's a little bit longer, but it's absolutely worth checking out because of the and not too bad, but it's a little bit longer. It's only about 5 minutes, so. Um, yeah, and just watch the reporter and how she just doesn't let up, just sticking on subject. I've never seen Hakeem get this pissed off either. I forgot about that in this interview. So, and that alone is worth it. But here, let's get to this, and then we can kind of react to that as it's going on. But I love this. It's too funny. It's too on point. It raises too many good questions, and
extension has,
of course, the Democrats in the Senate would be more than willing to act like I don't have a son. I don't have a son.
any potential
There we
Republican
go.
saying, forget it, this is dead on arrival. That's the opinion of.
By the way, you like my new switcher? Oh, he's already pissed. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's trying to pass the buck and blame it all on Republicans yet again. That's all he knows how to do. That's the only thing he can possibly do because they were in it. Sometimes it's amazing when you remember the fact that there have been continuing resolutions. I don't know how you forget this part. This part is so critical because we all lived through this, and some people seem to have forgotten, or they weren't paying attention, or they were, but they don't want to talk about it. I don't know, but if you're gonna either lie or are this misinformed about this subject, you have no business being involved in policy making because this is just such a incredibly underhanded, dirty way to handle it. Like because time after time, I think it was told it was counted at 13 times there were continuing resolutions in the House when or in the Senate, but wait, no, the Senate doesn't have a continuing resolution, but 13 times there's a critical revolution that uh, like they needed to get more time to fund their bills when actuality what they were doing in that time period was they wanted to figure out a way to stuff more stuff into the bill, and that's why you ended up with under Democrat, one party rule. You have your K rule from your, which by the way I do seriously recommend if you ever try this kind of thing, use the Ethernet cable. Don't try to connect Wi-Fi, but if you do it shouldn't be too terrible. But man, you're guaranteed to um, get good results that way. But let me see here. There's oh man. There we go. Anyway, let's get back to this. I'm sorry. Oh. You guys didn't get to hear any of that, did you? Hold on. Jeez. We'll just go back to the point that it was really funny because it's funny enough to watch again anyway. I'm sorry about that. Um, Jeez, I am sloppy today. I'm sorry, guys. Jeez Louise. Um, okay. Oh, whoops. I pressed the wrong thing.
You want to satiate, if you want to get done, you are going
Okay,
to
there
need
we go.
at
Now
least
we're
some
good.
Republicans to come over. Why not start with a 1-year extension or potentially even a 2-year extension?
Well, Leader Schumer offered a 1-year extension in the context of trying to end the Trump Republican shutdown.
This is
But
right.
that's different. I'm talking about what you have now. Let's not go back to what's done in the past and what has not been extended. If you want to get something that has actually done, you need to do something that will have bipartisanship.
You can ask me the question. You can ask me the question. I'll provide the answer.
Answer the question instead of going back.
I'll provide the answer. No. I'm providing an answer in order to provide context. Republicans have repeatedly refused to take yes for an answer. It was a very reasonable multi-year extension that was offered. It was a 1-year straight extension plus a multi-year process through a bipartisan commission to more permanently resolve the Affordable Care Act issue. So having that context is absolutely important, regardless of what you may think.
It's important context to make me realize that I don't think you want to get a deal done. I think this is something where you'd like to see the rates go higher and allow the Republicans to hang themselves with that. Is that the answer?
That's absolutely a ridiculous assertion. And really, shame
3 years
on you
is not going to get passed, so what do you do?
Shame on you for saying that.
You know why that's so good is that is exactly what that is exactly what he wants, because we're in the middle of a Trump presidency with a Republican-controlled House and Senate, and they assert that the Supreme Court is hardcore conservative too, even though you got I would say it's pretty close to moderate in terms of the Senate, but because they don't get not the Senate, the court, in terms of you got a few liberals, you got a few people that are pretty staunchly conservative, and then you got people who are moderate on both sides, and it fairly goes. I mean, decisions wouldn't be going one way or another if this was a conservative court. Now, I will say this, and this is what Democrats hate. It's a constitutional court. It is one of the most constitutional courts that I think we've seen in a long time, because they do go by original text as often as possible, which is why the idea of Roe v. Wade being overturned by the Dobbs was something that was predictable by this court, and also why their reasoning was totally not unexpected, because things like that in the Constitution have always been essentially issues that have been traditionally left up to the states, right? Like the recognition that each state is going to have slightly different dynamics. They're going to be people with different values, different ideas, different types of priorities, and in the case of something like abortion, where it's really controversial, just the subject in general, that's going to be when you have I was God have fun. I really do want to learn this too. But anyway, so yeah, the kind of the voice that he uses right there, and how indignant he gets right off the bat when she suggests that. But the truth is that, like, whenever you talk to any Democrat, but Hakeem Jeffries in particular, excuse me, about the shutdown. It was a showdown too, but it was a shutdown. You notice he didn't really continue along the line of reasoning. He continued by going and talking about how, well, Senator Schumer offered them this, and he told them about this, and she's saying, no, I don't want to talk about what was done. I want to talk about what's going to happen moving forward. Well, no, this is important context. This is important context, and then goes on to keep describing the same kind of thing that makes no difference whatsoever to the current situation. Because once again, I mean, I'm also noticing that people's taste in games is starting to get way more yeah, they're going to get more and more extreme and more interface, and they're going to so it's just, I don't know, it frustrates the hell out of me to no end, but it is still kind of funny in its own way because of the source it's coming from. And I don't think there's anything that, like, because if you notice, like, things like Nancy Pelosi announcing that she's going to retire, that happened right after the shutdown. If you think about all the changes that were talks about in the Senate, it's all post lockdown, post Soviet Union, and yeah, essentially lockdown. But anyway, let's get back to this now because I'm trying to think of the points that were important, but let's just keep going with it. So,
In fact, the states that are most impacted as it relates to an Affordable Care
Ah.
Act
Happen to
tax
be red
credit
states.
expiration are
Agreed.
all Republican states. We're talking about West Virginia,
Agreed.
Wyoming,
Not
Alaska.
contesting that.
Over and over
That's
and over
why
again, we
you
can go through
probably
the
have
list.
some Republicans who would sign on if you guys.
and once again, he thinks he's got a gotcha right there, where it's like, but the problem is that like those are all the states with small hospitals that have not a lot of resources and are ignored in a lot of cases by the federal government. So they're not really going to get the same kind of care that you would get in a big metropolitan area where there's a bunch of hospitals everywhere, and all of them are probably filled with a bunch of illegal migrants. But at least you can still get in and out. But yeah, this is so beyond the pale. It's incredible, and it just doesn't. Mm. Well, either way, that's as good as he can do. So let's see what else he has to keep wiggling his way around answering any questions. It's not very good.
Could come up with something that actually looks like a bipartisan deal.
Listen, this is not a partisan fight for us. It's a patriotic fight. We're fighting for every constituent, even if Republicans aren't necessarily fighting for their own constituent. We want to find a bipartisan path forward. And that is what we've repeatedly indicated we want to do. Like, we want to sit down and have a reasonable discussion.
And here is the main central problem right there. Right there. This is the main problem. We want to sit down and have a reasonable discussion. Well, here's the problem. That's why you sign a CR, jackass. That's the whole point of signing a CR. A CR is meant so you can keep negotiating in good faith like you say you want to do. And instead of doing that, you guys decide, nah, we're going to hold up everything and just demand that we get everything we want. Why? Well, because if we don't, then you guys are going to just get whatever you want, and then the American people are going to suffer. Well, actually, we have a plan for helping out American people. Oh, but we don't trust your plan. We know that Donald Trump is a traitor and an insurrectionist, an evil dictator, and so we want to get this resolved now so that the ACA can continue, even though we want funding levels at the same as they were at COVID, and we want to make sure that. This is another aspect of this too that doesn't get brought up a lot on other stations that don't cover the issues from the conservative side of things. Two things that are interesting about this. Number one, the levels that they're at right now are levels that were there during the COVID pandemic, and they didn't get overturned because they were set for a certain year to expire. When you have a bill that passes and it passes into law, and you have art supply. Oh, is it this way? Yeah, it looks like it probably is. Yeah. Well, there you go. Anyway, so that's what I mean. Like, so there's part number one, and then part number two is like you say that you want to sit down and discuss with Republicans what's good for their constituents, whether they agree or not. Well, that's the problem. They represent the people, and if their constituents don't want, like, for example, this has been talked about a lot, so I'll keep it brief. But like, if you remember the original pitch of Obamacare, which I remember it surprisingly, I can't believe I remember it so vividly, but it was just played everywhere all the time. Um, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your health insurance, you can keep your health insurance. This is just about making sure everyone has access to health insurance in the country. Well, that's not exactly how things work, because after time, there's going to be some kind of new and incredible gee. Oh wow, I got a lot of research. Ooh, critical threat. Okay, mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of the better angle from this, but there is none. There's no better angle from this. Like, you can't argue and debate in good faith unless you're willing to hear out one side's perspective. And they've been particularly strong on the Republican side of listing out the ideas that they have, because they do have ideas, but they don't really go and rush to the nearest mainstream media channel right after the vote to discuss what legislation should be. But yeah, it's. Hmm. And there's just there's no way to reconcile it like that. There's just no way to come to any kind of other conclusion on it based on that. So, we'll finish this up. This is just oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's sad. It's kind of disgusting, but this is what they have. This is what they have, and this is all they have, and this is the only thing they'll ever go to, except for one more thing they'll show you during this video, which is just absolutely laughable. Except for they do kind of use them for. Anyway, um, hmm. Oh yeah, I haven't done this in a while. I'll hold off on doing this though. Let's finish up the rest of this real quick. So, yeah.
Common ground to address this issue. Now, Republicans said in the House they were willing to deal with the Affordable Care Act tax credit issue after the government funding agreement was reached. Well, now the government shutdown is over, and there's still been no conversations with House Republican leaders.
Mike Johnson never said that. The leader never said that. You do have Republicans, though, who would agree with you on something if it was actually bipartisan in nature. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Actually, Mike Johnson actually did say.
I just have to get this one part out real quick, and I'm sorry. I just had to get this out. I don't know if you guys saw the clip of one of the congressmen, Mike Lawler, approaching Hakeem Jeffries near his office, and he's holding this piece of paper. It's a very thin, small stack of papers, but they're all just uh, belly flipping. Uh, hmm, yeah, not really, but anyway, it's like um, if you take it like that, yeah, of course, but and these people fear mong, so they're going to keep a case as relevant and as valid as it can for as long a period of time as it possibly can. But the problem is that that they're talking about people within the Democrat Party or people within the conservative side of political answers. Um, You're gonna have to go down to get anyway. What the hell? You just have to keep like reminding everybody like where that is one thing I do really want to answer because um mm, mhm. Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. But anyway, here we'll finish this up.
That there was always a plan to specifically deal with the expiration of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. In fact, he said that repeatedly. So I'm not sure what you're referencing.
I think their plan
but
is something that
that's
looks
the bottom
more like
line.
an HCA, which I'm guessing you would say is dead on arrival too. If you wanted to set up these healthcare plans that are funded instead of going through the ACA, I'm assuming you would say that's dead on arrival too, because there have been Republicans who've put that forward. Am I wrong in thinking you would not go along with that?
What I'm saying is that what's in front of us is the immediate expiration of the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Republicans have had all year to deal with this issue, and they've refused to do it. So they're the ones who are not interested in finding a resolution to a health care crisis that they've created, including passing a bill that enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. And because of their policies, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing throughout America, including in rural parts of the country.
Which would why it would be nice to see a one-year extension so that none of these things happen immediately and give you all time.
See, this is why I couldn't do it, but this guy's great. This girl's great. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Extension that basically kicks it down until the next administration is here.
Yeah, and that's the other aspect of a 3-year
extension. Come together and find some way of getting around this. That's not necessarily saying, okay, we're going to spend $350 billion to extend these tax credits without having any way of trying to get at the real problems of what is causing higher premiums, what is causing this inflationary healthcare environment to begin with.
Yeah, what's interesting is that Republicans just spent trillions of dollars.
Here we go back to Republicans again.
Donors with massive tax breaks
and millionaire donors
cut Medicaid by the.
I swear, I'm sorry. I swear, every time I hear these sons of bitches go on about millionaire donors and they're just making all these deals to make their billionaire donors happy. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Rich fundraiser for the Democrats. Jeez, whew, man, you got them there, man. I can't imagine what it must be like to be. It must be so hard when you don't have any, wealthy companies or, I don't know, notoriously rich guys that are like Dr. Evil living out in the Pacific that fund every single fucking goddamn. Oh, excuse me, jeez. Every fucking race that has a D next to it. It must be very difficult. I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, I don't know how you do it without some kind of really rich, wealthy donor that's willing to donate all their money to all the Democrats running for different offices. I don't know how you do it. And this is the worst freaking part, because how do you think that, what do you think the Zucker Bucks were all about? What do you think, I mean, there's countless examples, and it's so ridiculous to get, once again, I've talked about this before, and I just, it blows my mind, because the rich, wealthy donors for the Republicans and Donald Trump is so, okay, who are all these really super wealthy donors that are always buddying around with Donald Trump? Because I really have no idea what you're talking about. If you're talking about Elon Musk, that isn't really the deal anymore. And even if it was, that's one guy. So I don't know how, is it just they're just writing bills for him or what? And then when it comes to like anything that has to do with somebody, like, for example, the ADA is always referenced now as this big, horrible entity. The ADA is controlling politicians. It's like, for me, it's just like, it just reminds me so much of how the NRA used to be the one that was controlling the party. It used to be like, the NRA is funding the Republican Party with blood money to make sure that nothing gets in the way of them selling these weapons of war to our children. and you know, fast forward now to their new talking points, and now it's like now it's like the ADA is coming in, and the Republicans are just beholden to them to keep us embroiled in all these forever wars around the world, and It's like, okay, I don't know who you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about another Republican or another Republican president or something, but you do look around the world and notice that a sudden drop in conflicts has been going on, right? Like the amount of wars that are going on right now has dropped significantly over the last 6 months because uh, of this administration and their Joker card. Did you pull out and you think you, oh man, I really got him now. Mm, 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 mm. So it's so stupid.
Largest amount in the history of the country, and also ripped $186 billion in nutritional assistance away from hungry children, seniors, and veterans, the largest cut to SNAP in American history. But somehow we can't find a dime to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, even for a year, because House Republican leaders have rejected a one-year extension. Rejected it. That's their position, not our position. That's their.
Real quick, one last thing. I'm sorry, but I forgot to mention this part. So Mike Lawler approached Hakeem Jeffries in the hallway, and this was during the shutdown, and he approached him with a bill that would have extended the ACA. I think it was 6 month extension, so that we could negotiate the rest of the bill, and you get an extension on it to make sure that it goes way far ahead into the future. You get a little extra time to maybe come up with some new ways to fund it that aren't going to, you know, bankrupt the country. But Hakeem Jeffries, instead of even listening to what Mike Lawler had to say, I think he just assumed that it was a copy of the CR, and just insulted him the whole time. Didn't listen to a word he said. Didn't even give it a second thought. Kept saying, "Did your boss tell you to do this? Did your boss Donald Trump? Did your boss Mike Johnson? Did your boss tell you to do this?" I just keep saying that over and over and over again, and he looks like a complete fucking fool because the guy's standing there trying to offer him a compromise to be able to like. I'm a Republican. I'm standing here holding a olive branch to you guys to be able to get past this shutdown, give you what you want, give you what you want, get government back open, and to basically make it so that you at least get what you want, that what you say you want for young voters is um, but yeah, it's just none of this is on the right. It's on a totally different universe because not one time has the Democratic Party ever even acknowledged that they are willing to come up with a compromise to work through this. They have a hard line of you're going to fund Obamacare, or we're not gonna go along with the bill. It is just complete and total bullshit, and it's absolutely really disappointed and disappointing. But so anyway, it's almost over now. But just this last little bit right here, we'll get through
Position.
So what I'm hearing, though, is that there is no middle ground. There is no bipartisanship. This is, at this point, us versus them, and we are not going to agree on anything.
No, that's absolutely not the case. We've repeatedly said we will sit down anytime, any place with any of our Republican colleagues. We'll even go back to the White House to sit down with President Trump. We've repeatedly offered to do it, but they've refused. Donald Trump spent more time on the golf course during the longest government shutdown in American history than they did talking to Democrats on Capitol Hill who.
That's because they did their part. And this is what's so sick about this is that it's just what I really find the most objectionable about the whole thing is that it's not like they can ever accept the fact that, guess what? You guys are in the minority now. You guys have to sometimes make, some concessions, some sacrifices, and actually accept the fact that you're not in control. There's another party in control. They have the majority, and so you guys are going to have to compromise. They don't have to compromise. They don't have to go hat in hand to you back to the Capitol after you've raised the storm and come up with every reason under the sun why you can't vote for a continuing resolution to negotiate, and you won't do it because they're not giving you exactly what you want. This idea of the Obamacare tax, so in case you're not aware of this part, this is kind of going back to Donald Trump's first term, and it was one of the if you don't remember, one of the early campaign promises in his first term was to repeal Obamacare and replace it with some kind of new health care system. It was completely dead on arrival even with conservatives. There was just no consensus amongst them about what to do, where to go from here. Now, bear in mind, this was long before COVID, so the actual cost was nothing like it is now. But the ultimate problem with this situation is that I'll start with this because this kind of helps encapsulate it. I hate to quote Ben Shapiro right now because I've had a lot of disagreements with the guy lately, but when you're right, you're right. And one thing he said at one point, I think this was actually in a debate. He had said that that we're talking about medical insurance, not medical care. We're talking about health care insurance and not health care. Medical insurance and not medical care. Yeah, that was it. And there's a big difference between the two. And anyone who says otherwise is either lying or trying to sell you something. That's the biggest problem with the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, and Obamacare is that they got these insurance companies that are really at the heart of the whole thing. And when you essentially are the only game in town for what is acceptable by a government program and what essentially works to your benefit to be able to continue to make sure that you're given preferential treatment as far as an insurance program. That's why, like I said before, you don't get to keep the doctor you have if you like it. You don't if you don't like it. If you like your doctor, you don't get to keep them. If you like your insurance policy, you don't have to. You can keep it. None of those things turned out to be true, and that's because they either were forced out of business or they were folded into the major healthcare companies that owned the entire thing, and now these companies that are getting all the business from the Affordable Care Act. John Kennedy also kind of explained this part pretty well. It was when he was discussing the differences between states and all this too. You might go to a doctor with an earache or with some sort of ear infection of some kind, and they're going to give you some type of medication that you need to take for X amount of months, and then it should clear up. Then, so if you're in his state of Louisiana, you do that, and then you pay X amount of money. Then you go over to Illinois, and you have the same issue. You go to a doctor under the same you know, Affordable Care Act, and you go to a hospital and you get diagnosed with the same thing, they prescribe you the same medication, and it could be a wildly different price because from state to state there's certain policies and certain different factors that go into each area that move along with the original intent of what it is exactly that what is it about she actually thought that this was going to be a smooth transition, and now once again when you dump the issue of COVID on it, and then you have people that are showing up, and then don't forget, you know, how fanatical people were during COVID. They would show up with the sniffles and be like, "I'm sure I have COVID. I'm sure I have COVID," and they'd be tested and they're negative for COVID. It's like, but I have all the symptoms. Like, yeah, but I mean, look at the symptoms. They're broad as hell. They're basically on every side effects box for any prescription medication in the country. There's no way. There's no way that this is some kind of like profound way of showing you're capable of leading the party. It's it's depressing, but um, there is a solution that is being talked about now, and it of course came from Trump and his administration, who were talking about um, you know, from the perspective of the characters themselves. Now, um, actually, let's see. Hmm. 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 Anyway, that's at the heart of the problem is who's getting the credit and why, and what's happening to the American people as a result of it. Well, once again, when it comes to government policies, they don't go away; they just expand. They find ways to survive. They find avenues which are vulnerable for them to trot out the exact same kinds of you know um, policies that they trotted out before. They have no um, oh geez, what's that really? Um, hmm, hmm. Well, it's just it's like the idea of medical insurance has become so intertwined with health care that people don't really recognize the difference anymore, and it's kind of scary because there's no insurance company in the world that's going to be able to provide you with health care. They're there to basically foot the bill for um, that's just like that's just such foolishness. It just I can't make sense of it. I really can't, and so I don't know. I was preparing for this and I was watching. Yeah, I'm speaking from Zelensky's perspective here, and he was watching. He was seeing that Jordan kind of ran roughshod over them on their first interview, and it wasn't even that rough. It was very relaxed. It was very calm. It was also hmm, oh, I don't know what the hell that is. Anyway, so that's part one. And I might not even get a part two with the same thing with Hakeem Jeffries because it's just the same shit. I might play it on the next episode. But basically, um, the Democrats running around about the Affordable Care Act are all snake oil salesmen. They're not telling you the whole story. They're not telling you um, why what they're doing is such a good idea because it's not. But most importantly, they're not telling you the idea that 13 times in a row the Biden administration needed a continuing resolution to finish the negotiation, and 13 times in a row, the Republicans voted for a continuing resolution to continue the negotiations. Now, they were a little naive to think that Democrats would work with them at that time because they were basically on the verge of ending the whole series, essentially. Um, and it just, hmm, don't know what happened there, but anyway, um, so yeah, that's the position, and it's just disingenuous all the way. Um, and then there's the whole angle of uh, Republicans are not showing up in good faith to discuss these issues. Once again, Republicans in the House, because the Senate's a totally different situation. In the Senate, all the Republicans and the Democrats were there and trying to vote to make sure that this passed. Now, um, as I've said before, there's a lot of things that you can tell just by you don't have to hear a word of what they're saying just to understand what the strategy is. You just have to get the idea of what they're doing, the timing of it, and the alternatives for it. And it's really freaking obvious as all hell that anyway, um, yeah, and they can't come up with something that is actually bipartisan because they don't care about bipartisanship. They care about pleasing their ravenous fan base. Now, let's get to the Mamdani thing because this is where what really throws a wrench into the works. Now, um, I think it's safe to say it's pretty clear at this point. Everybody's talking about this. Even most people on the left are willing to admit this sort of reality that Chuck Schumer is scared, completely petrified, basically, um, that he's going to be primaried by AOC and she's going to be the new leader of the Chaos Beastmen in 40K. Like, essentially, that's what. Hmm, and there we go. So it's just um, when Mamdani hit the scene and kind of came up out of nowhere, a lot of people didn't really understand what's going on with this guy. How is he making so many inroads? And it's the same way that Democrats have been selling these types of things to the American people for so long. They don't see the person who is spending all the money, aka middle class America and the middle upper class America. Mostly though, it's absorbed by the middle class of the United States because when it comes to the very wealthy entrepreneurial class, they can deny it all they want, but every state in the country wants to have more people with wealth there because number one, they tend to be people who get involved in local political affairs and local demonstrations and rallies for new legislation or new spending bills or new technological advancements or whatever the hell it might be. At least something that they're going to be invested in more than just a financial uh, insert level. But I just I didn't hear it if I did. I guess I didn't hear it. Okay. Hmm. So anyway, so Zoran's talking tough, and And Cuomo is, I did hear this, and bear in mind, like I've said before, I live on the West Coast. I'm as far away from New York as anybody in the United States. I've got no direct connection. I have no family there. I have some former acquaintances there, but that's about it. Like people that I used to know a lot more about in terms of Dead Space. But I love the game, so I use those all the time. That's actually pretty sweet, huh? So anyway, what's this thing? Oh yeah, yeah. Um, so I actually should check to see what's in my bag as far as things. Yeah, there we go. Hmm. Oh, I picked the wrong campaign. Okay, here we go. Let's see. There's Oh, and I want to get to the Epstein thing too. I don't think I'll be able to get to that on this one. I'll have to do that on the next one. Because it's already 9, man. Yeah, we'll conclude with this one for now, and then the next one we'll get into that because that's gonna be fun. We'll be talking about Jasmine Crockett. We'll be talking about uh who were some of the other people that were caught up in this whole? Oh, of course, Stacy Plaskett. A lot of people forget that Stacy Plaskett is the one who called Matt Taibbi the so-called journalist, and I thought that was just beautiful. I wish Matt had come out and made it. Maybe he did, and I missed it, but I don't think he has. But I'd love to hear what he has to say about that because he did say in the middle of the committee that uh, Ranking Member Plaskett, I'm not uh, I'm not a talking head. I'm not partisan. Um, I'm a member of the Global Heritage Foundation, and geez, is it um, just crazy that that's where everybody is. But anyway, um, so everyone thinks that Schumer is going to step down because the most vocal radical on the left are demanding. They're demanding this in March or April or June, early this year, whenever it was, that that we need to cut back on spending. Um, hmm. But jeez. Uh, oh, I think this might be the one that was. I mean, there's nothing that they won't do right now to attempt to smear the not just Trump but the entire administration for everything that's gone wrong. Um, there's technicalities they bring up all over the place, and I know it gets overused, but it really is like whenever you need a litmus test onto essentially, um, which party is getting away with murder and which party is not getting away with shoplifting. Like what is the kill to one ratio, 1-to-1 ratio for these people over here? Anyway, so what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Do I have something to finish this out, or um? I should have played this part first. It's a little bit more appropriate, but that's all right. I forgot to see one. Hmm. There's that whole spiel. So anyway, gosh, there's got to be. I know there's at least a follow up on that I thought was really good. And I'm trying to find. Because I'm sure, as you know, there was more than just Hakeem Jeffries weighing in on this, and so many dumbass Democrats tried to throw their 2 cents into the mix and act like, well, obviously this is the right thing to do, and it's I remember in the last Congress, one of the biggest themes was David Schweikert would take the day to actually go bowling at his house. So um, I don't know what kind of racing wheel you have, but mine's a really expensive one I got for cheap. So um, but anyway, the hmm, hmm. Yeah, man, I can't find any other videos. Um, Let me try one of the folders and just see if there's anything else in there. I plan to talk about multiple subjects, but I thought I had more on this, and I guess I kind of was like, okay, the shutdown's over. I'm not going to talk much about it, but um, hmm, 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 there's got to be something that was. There was really a disgusting one, but this one is not as relevant, and it's kind of old now. Probably most people have seen it, but there was just this despicable reaction from Hakeem Jeffries, who was trying to suggest that Democrats care about Americans and Republicans don't, and it's because that's why they're bringing immigrants into this when immigrants are suffering so much, and they want to bring up people who are victimized by crime and use their memory and exploit it to get all this business. It's like, first of all, you don't know the names of Jocelyn Nunn Gary, of Rachel Morin, of Laken Riley. Um, I, proof Joe Biden called her Lincoln Riley, for example. So you don't have the best track record there. But on top of that, like, you don't know the cases, you don't know what happened, you don't know who was behind it, and your constant references to this one would have been good to bring up, but I'll bring it up later, I guess, because Brandon Gill is actually introducing a great bill about this. But um, the idea of tattoos comes up a lot, and they contest this all the time. And I'll just say 2 things about tattoos before I kind of try to find the last thing and wrap this up. But um, uh, so first off, when it comes to gang tattoos, um, it's not really. It's very common, as a matter of fact, for gang members to have law enforcement see their gang tattoos and say that no man, that's not what it means. It means this, it means that, it's for this, and obviously they're always full of shit. But one great example, there's a gang in the prisons in New Mexico called S&M, Sindicato Nuevo Mexico. Um, they're a very, very violent prison gang. But one of their symbols is the New Mexico sun logo. So this one inmate there had S&M written on his shoulder or on the back of his neck or something like that. And when he was questioned about it, his response was, "No, man, that stands for sunny New Mexico." So of course they're not going to admit what the hell. That'd be like Hakeem Jeffries coming up and saying, "No, no, that's not what it means. It means sunny New Mexico. These guys are obviously not gang members. They're just people here seeking a better life." It's so sick. It is so sick. Um, but that's one factor that law enforcement look for is uh, obviously for gang affiliation. Um, but um, good stuff. Anyway, um, but yeah, that's one example. The other example though is that here's my best argument towards that stupid reasoning. Um, if there's somebody who has a tattoo that's gang related and they don't actually belong to that gang, even if there's question about if that's actually a gang tattoo or not, but it even hints at the idea that this person's a member of the gang, you're those people should be far more concerned, and probably would be far more concerned about the gangs than the federal government. Because I mean, there is, trust me when I say this, there's some there's some serious emphasis put on gang tattoos and them being a real badge of honor, especially when it comes to prison gangs, because the process is far harder and you have to have all the right supplies and go through less tiles and I hope you enjoy it, man. Um, but that's the point. Is that like they can play dumb all they want? They really can play dumb all they want, but um, you know, once again, go back to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I talked about this many times. When you have a guy who is reported to be a part of MS-13, when he is convicted on human smuggling, drug trafficking, um, and has also been arrested and was going to be charged with basically for beating uh, physically harming his wife, and I don't know if to what level, but also being pretty brutal and pretty who free him, who free him. I think most people would find these things funny unless they're Phil Burnell, and then they're hmm. Well, anyway, um, so that's the kind of thing that bugs me is that like they play dumb. They play dumb about all this stuff, and um, it would be less impactful if there wasn't serious evidence to suggest that number one, this is far bigger than any individual like Kilmar Abrego Garcia or something. This is about whether or not um, our country is going to be able to oh wow, that was um geez, I thought for sure there was something left, and I'm sorry, there's just I can't seem to find anything. I had a great clip of Stacy Plaskett that was trying to explain something, but that one didn't work. Uh, oh, this one's good. This one's good. So this is what we started the show on. This is a perfect one. This is a perfect one to go with. Uh, I can't believe that Joy Reid is still trying to put a show out. This is this racist, bitter, angry black lady that has no talent and no ability to really maintain an audience, and has one shtick, which is to blame everything on Whitey. But you find someone like Abby Phillips on her show, and then she's gonna get Abby to lean full in because, of course, she's black, so she's gonna go full in on the same sort of ridiculous narratives. But um, there's a segment that follows up after this, and what's interesting is that um, it reveals once again why when people get hyper focused on their race and they don't take into account, like they'll compare black versus white, like, oh man, this is terrible. They don't compare Asian to black. They don't care. They don't compare Hispanic to Asian or Hispanic to black. They don't compare Samoan to you know the camp. It, it's like it's obvious that they don't want these things, and it's just, it's gross. It's absolutely gross. But instead of actually looking into other reasons why some people might be turned off by that kind of thing, or might not want to listen to nonstop nonstop content to remind you should be self-flagellating every day to make sure that you are properly punished for your deeply held evil racist ideology that is inherently prominent in every white person in America. It's so completely beyond. More, more pain. This is good. So okay, so let me just see one thing before I start this real quick, because this is partly a clip on that, but it also has an interjection from, I can't remember who it was. I'm gonna try and see if I remember who it was real quick, because the person that interjects here and makes their points is so spot on this, and it's just perfect. We need people to do this more often, because um another thing, I've emphasized this on the show before, to be honest, but not as strongly as I should have emphasized it, because um I don't know how many of you out there have known people who are actually actually racist people. But here's the thing about actually racist people. Turns out they're not all that shy about admitting how racist they are. As a matter of fact, you can't get them to shut up about it. They go on and on and on about how stupid this group is, or how inferior this group is, or how much they're fucking the country up because of this group or that group. Racist people are completely absorbed in a world of, and it's just, hmm. Well, anyway, let me see if I can. I'm sorry for the pauses. I'm trying to figure. There's a bunch of stuff going on. I'm trying to figure out what the hell was that last thing. But anyway, so this clip is this is the kind of fun stuff you'll find on Joy Reid's channel, and she's I've only seen a handful of some like quote unquote famous people on there, like, because deep down nobody gives a shit about Joy Reid. I mean, like, and that's what pissed me off so much about the Colbert thing too, was that the guy used to bring a PA pocket check. Hmm. Well, anyway, I'll just, I'm sure to play when we play the clip, we get to the part that's good. But I do remember there is I think it ends at the round table. It may even be Scott Jennings that comes in on this one. But the point is that uh, I do remember that it's sort of a pile on at the end. And it's so easy to take these people down once you aren't afraid to. When you kind of shed that fear of concern that, oh man, everybody's gonna think I'm this racist evil guy, and and so like that's not the part, the annoying part. Annoying. Boom. There we go. That was, oh, there's another one. Yep, there we go. Hmm. So anyway, let's get to this clip, and then we'll call it a wrap. But let's see. Let's make sure that I got this right. And like I said, part of the intro clip had some of this on there. I don't think this is the one with the commentary from Steven Crowder and Louder with Crowder on it either. I think this is just the show's clip. There may be some, but it's not the full fledged one where they're laughing so hard that you can't hear it anymore. But um, regardless, even if they're not, it is hilarious to see someone like Joy Reid, who's worth like $4 million, talk about the plight of poor Black America. Um, and I'm sure the argument would be, man, I've lived here my whole life, though, man. That ain't fair, man. That ain't fair. That's bullshit. That's gonna be their religion. What? Hmm. Interesting. Well, here. Let me get to this. Should be what was that? It was right in the middle somewhere, and And I'm sorry, guys. I am. The adrenaline just kicks in just before the show, and then it starts to dwindle down. I really need to. I'll tell you what I need to do. I need to go back to doing the show earlier in the days. That's exactly what I need to do because that was what worked out the absolute best. But it's so hard for me to have everything prepared by then. That was the reason I kept pushing it back for a while. But I think it was. I think maybe sacrifice the stories, do them later if they're really important, um, and then. Hmm. Okay, well here, let's go. We'll get the trying to remember the title now. I'm trying to remember the title because I just don't remember where the hell. Okay. All right. Well, it's got to be on. I might only have that one clip. I could have sworn I had one that was at the insult. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we'll just have to stick to that one then. If it's that one, it just has the laughing from the crowd on their actual interview of the subject, but uh, the rest of it is pretty substantial, and it comes from multiple sources. But it really is exposure of like exactly what it is that Democrats think when they advocate these points. They really this is Democrat thinking. I've really kind of been thinking about this lately, and it makes total sense. They advocate a position, and they just think about how great it would be if we got out of what we're in and we got in this position. And so their mind is thinking about that the whole time. But not one time does their mind ever go, okay, we get there, then what? Not one time do they ever think through the idea of what happens this, what happens that, where do we go if this happens, what should we try if this happens. It's just we need to switch this. We need to switch these around right now. Okay, all right. Good to know. Um, so yeah. Sorry, Ryan, but here you take these. Uh, I got, but Okay. Oh wait. Yep. I did find the one that didn't have the intro clip. Okay, cool. Cool. Perfect. All right. We'll bring up the alt screen then. There we go. Okay. Let's pop this on and we'll freaking get this going. Is it this one? No, here we go. Oh, never mind. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I think this clip is really short anyway, so that's all right. But I don't know how that keeps happening. I think I accidentally turned it off when it was already on, but sorry about that. It's I'll just bring it back a little bit. So they're just stunned that Abby Phillips, not Joy Reid, actually still has a show, even if it is a podcast. So anyway, here, let's go.
Show on CNN, and she was talking about how her job is, and this is everything wrong with legacy media, and isn't it beautiful that now they're the underdog? They can't compete with a show like this. They can't compete with people out there who are doing it on their own. She was talking about how her job, Abby Phillip, is to get the truth to the masses.
Listen to this delusion.
Conservatives are living in a completely different information world.
Absolutely.
Than liberals.
Where we have it.
And breaking that down needs to be done. Because when you don't ever even hear the facts, it's hard to even know that you're wrong. And that happens a lot.
Why is she talking to Rodman's cousin?
Half my job sometimes is knowing what the latest conspiracy is.
Look at
So
that
if
ugly
it comes up,
pig.
I'm ready to address it. Because it happens a lot where people don't even know that what they're saying or what they've seen and believe is not true. And so that happens a lot, and I don't come away from that saying, what's the point of this? People are just saying false things. I think that one time that person brings up something that is debunked and false, and I debunk it at the table, might be the very first time.
I swear, I love that line. I debunk it. Since when has Abby Phillips fucking debunked anything? I haven't seen Abby Phillips one time debunk anything. I've seen her go on hissy fits where she goes, Scott, come on. Scott, come on. You can't be serious. Is that her idea of debunking something? or Ben, the guy that does the podcast with Ted Cruz, Ben, that's just being completely ridiculous. Ben, no, that's just ridiculous. Sorry, that's not debunking, Abby. That's just raising your voice and whining like a bitch.
That someone out there has heard an alternative point of view.
Yes, it's the first time someone's heard an alternative view, said the lady who hosts Abby Phillip Tonight on CNN.
They're abandoning small children alone.
Oh, and here we go.
No, it's not false. Look it up. Don't just say false. I actually
abandoning small children. They turned the children over to HHS.
There were actually small children abandoned in a highway in a car in Cicero, Illinois.
Small children abandoned in Cicero, Illinois.
Would you like me to get with examples of what is happening?
Of course they're training them.
Okay, a quick aside. She has to thank you because you made fun of her for so long, the fat jokes, that's why she lost weight.
That's right. I write for another show, and then every night they pound on it. I introduced the... And honest to God, I could mark the calendar where it started. And there's a few other ones, too. I can't get to Nadler. He won't break.
The alleged incident, by the way, took place in Aurora, Illinois. And just so you know, when the left says proof and people didn't know about this, okay, that's a very outlandish claim. There should be a substantial amount of proof.
Yeah.
Happened in Aurora, and here is the video proof that
just before it gets to this, that's one thing that's driven me crazy because I've been asked questions lately about like children being deported and liberal family members. And I've been hearing, I hear all this stuff. Children who zip tied and all this other bullshit. And I of course tell them no, like especially when the kids with the deportation things that no, the only kids that get deported with their family because the ridiculous Democratic Party insists that the birthright citizenship is actually the idea that the founding fathers wanted to, the idea that people could just stroll across the border, have their kid, and then they would have an American child, and then they could, use that as a means to get their foot in the door too. That was exactly what they were intending. But the idea that they would be deporting children on their own, or forcing. She didn't bring this up, but I know a lot of people have brought it up when they're racist in another direction. But yeah, the idea that just randomly target this person, and you're not expecting any kind of pushback. It just. Anyway, this is like the idea. So, oh yeah. So what I was gonna say is, when you hear stuff like that, like the idea that children are being zip tied, or children being shipped off and kept on their own and kept from their parents and blah blah. You notice how when the right is trying to, like there was the incident with the ridiculously stupid immigrant who tried to pull a U-turn on the freeway with a semi-truck and ended up causing a gigantic pile-up accident on the freeway because he can't read English, so he can't read the street signs. And he had no idea he was doing something wrong. There was video evidence of that. There was video evidence from the guy's own phone of that. Meanwhile, every time they say something like this, I haven't seen one video, one photo, one body cam footage of them running around, zip tying children, slamming them to the ground, doing anything like that to a vulnerable population of any kind. Most of the illegals that are not, that came here hoping to get work and make money, are the people that are first to put their hands up and apologize and state that they were just trying to make a better life for themselves, blah 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 blah. Seen plenty of videos of people that are pretty belligerent and angry. And I know that there are people that because I have seen videos of people that they were hoodwinked by the whole idea and are happy. That's why there's a lot of self-deportations going on, because it's like nothing. I think I mentioned this before, but it's like nothing like they were hoping it was going to be, but worse and even more than that. What exactly is it that tells a host for a Evo shooter and look away? So anyway, I'm sorry, but we'll get back to this. This is almost over now.
A child was abandoned as per Trump orders in Illinois. Okay, there's a still. Here's the video. I know what you're saying. Where's the boy who's abandoned, right? That's what I thought. Well, here it is. Yeah. Hold on, the proof.
I feel like I just saw that.
There's the proof. A separate still of a boy who apparently is 5'11". That's it. That's the proof.
Yeah.
Wrong city. That's the proof. You should know this. Look it up. I looked it up. I don't see any proof. As a matter of fact, I only see a still of a boy in the arms of a man, so he would clearly not seem abandoned, and it's not in the right city. She was conflating it with this clip that was from Cicero, which has nothing to do with an abandoned boy.
Anyway, the other clip was not even relevant. It had nothing to do with the scenario. The point is that the narrative goes around. It's horrible. It's horrific, and that's what they want. So they believe it, and that's probably the worst aspect of what's going on with the Democrats right now is that they don't care about the authenticity of a story. They don't care about the evidence for it. They don't care about anything surrounding the story. They care about two things. Is it damaging to Donald Trump, and how serious is the claim that's being made? If it's a serious enough claim and it's damaging to Donald Trump, if it were true, then let's put it out there. Because they just assume that, and this is the best part, they assume that oh, those stupid right-wingers, they'll never figure out, they'll never figure out what we're talking about. They'll never be able to prove that this isn't true. Sorry, you give so many details out, eventually we're going to have enough information to kind of, and by we, I mean them, but I mean, even if it were me, I mean, like, give me enough information, I can tell you whether it's true or not. And it blows my mind that from a group of people that in the age of AI have been running around raising the flag about how terrible it is that there's this fake footage up of Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero, and this is unacceptable. And then, but it's fine to make up fake stories about children being taken away from their parents because ICE is acting immoral towards families when they apprehend them for immigration control. That's totally fine, because the ends justify the means, and we got to make sure these illegals stay in the country. And it's just, and this is why I say I can't believe that. Yeah, I can believe when I hear things like 20%. It's like 20% hardcore radical liberals that are of the kind of ilk of sort of the Democrat socialist sort of perspective. I can believe that. But what I think is even more true is that that's starting to encompass kind of more like the whole of the Democrat Party, and anybody else is kind of moving independent. Tons of former Democrat senators and former Democrat government officials of some kind, they're starting to at least register independent. They don't want to, take the full plunge and go Republican, but they know they can't be Democrat anymore because they're not welcome in the party. They are going to be, they'll never make any kind of success for themselves in the Democrat Party. The party's changed into something totally different. And they're just obsessed with the idea of getting the worst stories possible on Trump. And that's what's kind of what I have the biggest objection about is that they, you notice how these terrible things are going on, like Irina Zarutska. There's that recent attack of that girl on the subway. Was it the subway, or can't remember exactly where it was, but crazy nut job asshole who'd been arrested like it was originally reported like 40 times. Now it's something like 95 times. Ran up, poured gasoline on her, and lit her on fire, and she's still sitting in the hospital. And a judge is still sympathetic to this piece of shit. They are so compassionate towards people of color. And this was a black girl, by the way, who got poured all over, gasoline all over her, and lit on fire. This was a black girl whose mother was talking about her recovery. And yeah, it was a black man who made the attack. And I know they are scared to death to talk about stuff like that, but once you can't talk about the facts of reality anymore, then you don't have much of a reason to even pretend like you're interested in the public safety or anything that has to do with making a better country for everyone living here. Instead, you have an agenda that is totally focused around you and your party, and that's it. That's it. There's no other long-term goal, and that's why I say, like, okay, they work like crazy, they get back into power. What do? Now, they haven't figured that part out yet, but I can guarantee you what they would do. They would just constantly be holding hearings. Like I said, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. Let's impeach him. Let's hold impeachment hearings. Let's hold impeachment inquiries. Let's talk to former staff. Let's talk to former FBI agents that got fired for no reason, and former government employees that shouldn't have been fired. Let's talk to the USAID workers that are now no longer to deliver Sesame Street to Afghanistan. I mean, it's like sob story after sob story. Meanwhile, they'll dismiss what's going on in South Africa. They'll dismiss the idea that Islamic Jihad is a legitimate threat to not just Israel, not just the West, but to countries like Britain that welcomed them in with open arms and are now overrun with so many people from the Middle East that still practice Islam in a pretty orthodox form, that they are demanding to have Sharia law in all these cities in the UK. It's turned into literal insanity, and I don't see how a group like this can, like, unless they're able to continue to make people believe some of the most ridiculous propositions I've ever heard, and to convince people that if you really care, you won't stand for this either. You'll oppose the evil orange man who's allowing it. There's nothing that they ever use other than ad hominem, exaggerated attacks on his character and on his policies, and not once ever acknowledge the idea that it's fair to want illegal immigrants out of the country, especially if they're dangerous. Once again, I've had to say this over and over, and I'll just close on this because I know I have to repeat this all the time, but I'll just say it one more time. It's made clear on the campaign trail, no matter how many times people want to bring this up and try to make it sound like this didn't happen. In an episode soon, I'm going to go over this because I was sick to death watching Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, some of the other podcasts and streamers online talk about how, well, they're just watching how things are going now with this administration. This wasn't what I was hoping for. It wasn't what I was expecting. Really? Because it was exactly what I was hoping for and expecting. I think anybody that was paying attention, this is exactly what they were hoping for. But when you have this degree of lunacy going on, I guess it kind of makes sense that some people will be against it. But they talk about this as if there's some great evil being perpetrated, and then they repeat the words that the Democrats repeat, which is they were only supposed to be going after people who were dangerous criminals and gang members. They were, but there was a caveat to that. It was a big caveat, and you guys don't ever want to take responsibility or ever want to tell the whole story, so let me remind you what the actual statements were. We're going to prioritize national security threats and public safety threats. We're going to go after the worst of the worst. Now, when we go after the worst of the worst, if these blue city Democrats want to get out of the way and allow us to do our job, that's great. If they want to help us out, that's even better. But don't cross that line and don't get yourself involved in attempting to help these people escape, which, by the way, they have also helped to do that, a la the judges that have been trying to help illegals escape from their courts. But even beyond that, you also have just the sort of more subtle forms of it, like most common being not honoring the ICE detainers that are placed on. The easiest way to determine someone is a threat to the community is when they're arrested and they have been basically caught like drunk driving, or they've been caught with a huge stash of underage child pornography on their phone, or all kinds of things come up. ICE will call. ICE will ask, "Hey, we're going to come down and get this guy and arrest him and prepare him to be deported back to his home country. So we're going to put a detainer on him. Can you hold on to him for a couple hours? We'll be down there." And they'll be like, "Yeah, sure." In that couple hours, the city will be like, "No, no, 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 no! Don't let ICE get this guy. Just release him. Just release him." So ICE will come down to look for him and be like, "I thought we told you to hold on to him. We had a detainer. What happened?" It's like, "Oh yeah, we there wasn't enough evidence, or we got the wrong guy. There's an excuse or something." And they go, "You got to be kidding me! And you didn't tell us. You made us come all the way down here." So that's the second part of the promise that was made. If you're going to obstruct justice, and if you're going to get in the way of us apprehending these criminals, and you're going to release them back into the community, okay, you can do that. But if you think that's going to stop us, no. This is all in your control. You can make it so that it's easy for us to do our job. We can go in, we can get the illegal who is a danger to the community and get them out of there. And everyone's happy. Or if you want to release them back out, fine. But that means that we're going to have to go find them. And that means we're going to have to go digging through the communities and areas and locations where he used to hang out. And he has known contacts, and he has known family members, and he has other people that are in his orbit. And that means we're probably going to run across some other illegals there who aren't necessarily criminals in any other way, but are also here illegally. But we can't just let that slide. We're immigration and customs enforcement. And we're not going to send a message to the rest of the world anymore that ICE is a pushover and the United States is a pushover, and that if we see somebody here illegally, we're just going to be like, "Yeah, no problem, that's fine." We're not sending that message anymore. We saw what that message did. It ended up getting us 20 million illegals flooding into the country. So, if we run across anyone else that way, just know we're going to arrest them, and that's on you. You could have left that person in the jail. It would have been a huge risk deduction for not just us, but for your officers, for your community, for the residents there, and even for the other illegal immigrants in the state, those that aren't harming anybody. But that's not what they want. Once again, this isn't about who gets hurt or who gets deported or who's a victim of anything. This is about an image of one group and another group. And they purposely make sure that they leave that part out, so that it seems like ICE is being completely unfair. You have these people in your custody. You have these people locked in a jail cell, and they could be picked up by ICE and removed from the country, and no one else would be arrested. But you don't want that. You don't want anybody removed, or if anybody's removed, then remove some other people too. Because what we're going to do is then we're going to slam you for sending children back home without their parents and splitting up families, and we're going to accuse you of doing. And meanwhile, not one time have they ever offered the condolences to the family of Laken Riley, Rachel Moran, Allison Nunguri, any of the victims of illegal immigrant scum that just decide one day they see somebody, they see a woman who's good looking, to murder and rape her. Not one time do they ever offer any condolences to those families, to those mothers that have to find out what happened to their children. And when you hear the people like that speak, it's just like they're broken and they have nothing but just this desire to do everything within their power to make sure that they can try to prevent this kind of result from coming about again to someone else's children or someone else's mother, someone else's family members, and it's really it's hard to watch, but it's one of the things that you really should watch, because as much as you hear it constantly of the plight of the poor immigrants, you hear even Republicans sometimes say out loud, I understand why illegal immigrants want to come to this country. I get it. I understand how hard it is in a lot of other countries and how dangerous it is. But if you're going to do that, you have to do it the right way. There's a right way and a wrong way, and you have to do it the right way. And they'll also bring up what's happening to the people in this country because they don't do it the right way. Meanwhile, the other side, they want to stay as far away from that subject as possible. They won't even mention those people's names. They won't mention their names. They won't talk about anyone else that's been hurt. They don't want that at all anywhere near them. And if there's a perfect example of everything that summed up the Democrat position on crime right now, especially when it relates to illegal immigration and crimes within those communities, I think that sums it all up right there. So, anyway, sorry for being a little all over the place today. I hope I got out to all well and understandable. I'm really trying to settle back into a groove. Like I said, I haven't gone over, and I don't want to go over all the sort of results of all the medical appointments and things that I've had lately, but I'll just say that has played a role in it, and it's not easy to deal with, but I'm really doing the best I can to get back to because, to be honest, when I get done with shows like this, I don't think I've ever said this before, but when I get done with shows like this, especially when they go really well, it's the rewarding feeling that reminds me, like, this is exactly why I'm doing this. This is exactly why I want to do this, because I mean, it's so I have such a strong interest in all these subjects, and I think that a lot of people today are so phony, or they're so they have this caricature in mind when they think of reporting or discussing cultural or political topics, and are more interested in that idea than of what is going to be the result of what it is they're talking about. So and that's why I don't talk about anything that I don't think is worth you knowing. And if you don't know it, hopefully I can inform you. If you do know it, hopefully I can present it in a way that's at least amusing. So, but either way, once again, I apologize for the. I mean, I don't want it this way, but I'm really doing the best I can to get back to a schedule where I'm on when you would expect me to be on, and I don't want to be on this late anymore either. I'd love to be on earlier, like I said, but as soon as I can do that, as soon as I have the ability to do that, I will definitely be taking the steps necessary to do that. But until then, I'll be doing things to the best of my ability. I think for the time being, I'll be trying to aim for 6 o'clock Pacific time to start my normal streams for a while. And when that changes, I'll let you know. But I'm gonna probably go ahead and make that official in maybe a couple more days. I just want to make sure that I can stick to that, and if I can, then I'll do it that way. So, yeah, that's what things are looking like for the next little while. But once again, as I always do, I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to check out the show. I always appreciate everybody who checks out the show, and thank you so much for giving me your time to see how things roll over here. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. I'm gonna try and be on tomorrow since it's day before Thanksgiving, and obviously I won't be on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow. So until then, take care of yourselves. Have a fantastic evening, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace.
That speaks to that lit the fuse. It lit it by the spark that it provided. A fuse of fury was an innocent interaction that turned into a terrible, terrible headline allegation